everyone. It's Andrea. Thank you so much for tuning in. Can I just get a moment? Can I just get a moment? This video is probably going to be more like a therapy session for me, if I'm being honest. There's some things that I see quite a bit, and they're irking me. And so I just need to get it off my chest. Say it, release it, and then I can go on with the world. Like, I can just let it go. So let's jump right on it. So the other day I had a signing, and the lady's asking questions. What's my interest rate? When's my first payment due? Things that I can show her in the documents and show her the answers to. And so that's what I'm doing. And so she has a bunch of them, but they're not anything that isn't in the paperwork. So we get halfway through, and she's like, I like you. And I looked at her and I said, I like you too. Just being silly. And she says, there was a notary here before you, and she refused to answer any questions. She said it was not her job to answer questions. It is her job to get the documents signed and send it back to the lender. And that was it. She said, so because I had questions and she wasn't able to answer them, I refused to sign the documents. And now here you are a few days later. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I was able to help you. But the more I thought about it, the more it just kind of irritated me. Because as loan signing agents, we're supposed to be familiar with the documents, so that if there are certain questions that are asked, we can at least pull those documents out, point to where the answers are, and show them. In essence, in my mind, when I do that, I'm teaching them. Like if I leave and they have the same questions, they'll have a visual, a little picture in their head of what that document looked like when I showed it to them, so that they can revert back to it and look on their own and find the answer that I showed them. That's what we're supposed to do. But so often, like even in the Facebook groups, they say, oh, that's an unauthorized practice of law, and us as loan signing agents aren't allowed to do that. Where do you get this information from? NNA, and a lot of people quote NNA. NNA does not say that. And I come bearing receipts, okay? So, Section L3, Part 3 of the Notary Signing Agent Continuing Education course from NNA says, and I quote, at the signing of appointment, you'll present each document in the package to the borrower and describe its general purpose. Because you don't want to give borrowers unauthorized counsel or advice. You will just give them an overview of each document in a couple of sentences. And that's it. That's it. That's what NNA says about being a signing agent. We're supposed to give them a general overview. And NNA goes so far as to give us little cheat sheets. Certified Notary Signing Agent Signing Presentation Guidelines, and then loan documents at a glance. So nowhere does it say we're not supposed to answer questions. It just says we give them a general overview. And yes, we can show them where to find the answer in the documents. We can show them, we can answer, or rather we can explain the what and the when, but not the how or the why. So for example, we can show them in the closing disclosure, this is your interest rate. If they have a question about when the first payment is due, we can show them on the note and the first payment letter where it says their first payment is due. They want to know how much their actual loan amount is. We can show them on a closing disclosure. They want to know how much money they're getting back. We can show them on the closing disclosure. We can answer those questions by pulling out the documents and showing where that information can be found. So when notaries say we can't do that, they're so wrong. They're so wrong. So again, we can explain the what and the when, but not the how and the why. So for example, if they want to know why their interest rate is so high, we need to pick up the phone and call the lender, call whomever. They want to know specific questions about how much the fees are and what they went towards and why their fees were that high. If it goes beyond what's on that closing disclosure page too, then we need to answer, we need to pick up the phone and we need to call somebody. The other thing, okay, so fast forward, Saturday, I get a notification on my phone at about 9:45, 10 o'clock, asking for me to do a closing at 11. Now, mind you, this is a hybrid, so most of the documents have already been signed online for the most part, and I'm typically coming over with maybe 6 or 7 documents that require wet signature. All right, so it's easy peasy, but unfortunately, I can't make 11. I'm not dressed, I'm not ready, I look a sight, yada yada. So before I can even look at the notification good, the signing company calls me and they're like, hey, can you go out to do a signing at 11? I said, I don't think I can do 11, but I can certainly do 12. And they said, okay, can you call the borrowers, work it out with them? So I call them and I say, I can't do 11, but if I can be there before 12 o'clock, does that fit your schedule at all? And they say, yes, because as soon as you leave, we're going out of town. And I said, okay, no problem. It shouldn't take long. This is a hybrid closing, yada, yada, yada. So get to their appointment, and I get there probably around 9:20, 9:30. Excuse me, 11:20, 11:30. And everything's going smoothly. I'm only there a few minutes, but towards the end of the closing, I say something like, well, I'm glad I could take care of you today. And the wife says, yes, thank you. The last notary wanted me to move the appointment. And she says, the original time was at 11. And she wanted me to move it to 12:30, and I just couldn't do that. We need to go out of town. And I said, oh, okay. And she says, yeah. No, then the husband says, yeah, she offered to come over at 11:30 p.m. So I'm just kind of looking a little confused at that point, because that's not ever an offer I give someone. Like, if it comes to my phone 11:30 p.m., okay, that's what the borrower or the signer needed, but I never just throw out, let me come to your house at 11:30 p.m. So I kind of look confused, and the wife says, yeah, and I watch a lot of slasher movies and horror movies, and that just sounds a little weird to have a complete stranger in my house at 11:30 at night. And sounds like the beginning of one of those movies. And I just kind of chuckled. And the husband says, yes, and imagine the title of the movie will be The Notary. Oh, I giggled so much. My goodness. Can you imagine us having our own horror movie? Like, what would that even look like? They gave us an expired ID and we just go ballistic? I don't know. Anyway, it was funny to me. But yeah, no, we're here at the courtesy of the signer. It's whatever they need. Now, mind you, if notifications come through on your phone and you're not available at that time, then that's just great. That it will be filled somehow. Or you can throw out an alternate time and maybe that will work for their schedule. But to offer to go to someone's home at 11:30 at night just seems crazy to me. And what I have found is that many notaries are doing that. They are overbooking themselves and hoping that the signers can move their schedule around to accommodate them. But that is backwards. We're supposed to be accommodating the signers. And at the end of the day, it will not always work out. If you have 3 appointments scheduled at 3 o'clock, there is a chance that 2 of those people cannot move their appointment. So in turn, that notary then has to go back and cancel or ask that the appointment be reassigned to another notary. And at the end of the day, that is like a red flag to signing companies, and it is not good practice. It really is not. And you do not want to start creating a bad name for yourself that you are a notary that is doing that, purposely overbooking themselves or rescheduling the appointment at a later or earlier time because it fits you better. That is not what we should be doing. Occasionally, I understand stuff happens, but if this is something that is a common practice, that is a bad practice. And then the other thing is unethical practices by notaries just in general. So when the person came over who did my mom's signing, before I even was a loan signing agent, I sat in on my mom's closing because I was interested in it. I was in training, and I noticed that all of her documents that needed to be signed and notarized were already signed and notarized before my mom even signed a document. And that's not good at all. According to the NNA, that is unlawful in every single state. But I guess the notaries are like, well, who's going to find out? But I don't think I understand it. I just don't think I understand it. If I totaled up in a typical closing how long it takes for me to sign and stamp the documents that need to be notarized, in total, it probably takes me 20 or 30 seconds. So it doesn't make sense for me to do that before or after the closing, especially since I know that it's wrong. I've had closings where the people across the table from me were notaries themselves, or they were settlement agents themselves. They knew the laws, and so if I walked in the door with documents that are already signed and stamped and notarized before anyone else signed them, then I would think that would give me a bad reputation. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Yeah, that's not good practice at all. But like I said, NNA says that is against the law in every single state. Even a better option would be if you don't want to sign and stamp as you're going through the closing. At the end of the closing, when you're checking all the documents to make sure everything is right, then you could also do all your signatures and stamping. It is still in front of the signers, so it's still legal. But to do it hours in advance to say it's going to save you time, my signature is sloppy. And it probably got worse once I became a loan signing agent, but it takes me no time. It takes me no time to sign and stamp and notarize documents. So I don't think I understand the justification for doing that in advance, especially when we know that it's against the law. But to each his own. Okay, so now that I have spilled that all out, that was very therapeutic for me. Thank you. Now that I have said all of that, I feel good and I can go on with my day. I'm sorry that you all had to sit through my ranting, but I really appreciate you doing so. Well, thank you. Continue to tune in. Please like and subscribe and share my videos if you could. You all have a great day, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.